You are listening to 1055 The Colorado Sound. Remember, you can hear us around the world at coloradosound.org. My name's Ben. I always appreciate you making us part of your day. I'm sitting with Juliette Pearl Davis and Joachim Polack. They are of the band Pearl and the Oysters, and they will be playing at the High Dive in Denver August 1st. That's this Saturday. Juliette and Joachim, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
thanks.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, let's talk a little bit about your new album because you just released an album called Monkey Mind. You released it in June. What do you think separates this album from your previous work?
I'd say probably the method of the crafting of the album. This time we really wanted something as direct as possible in the just the creative process. And we wrote the songs and almost immediately went to record them in a studio, all on tape. And also with a producer for the first time. We got to work with Jonathan Rado, who we were big fans of his work before, and so that was really new to bring a producer on board for a Pearl and the Oysters album, and it went super well.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the album. Something I've noticed about really all of your albums, they feel so different. You experiment with so many different genres. I feel like there are so many bands who like all their albums I don't want to say sound the same, but they all fall into basically the same category. So I guess I want to ask you when it comes to you experimenting with all these different genres, what influences you? Who are your big inspirations?
I think we both like very eclectic music. That's something we have in common, and something that we probably initially bonded over also, as far as our own tastes in music. Uh, I mean, someone that I think. I mean, it's kind of like it's difficult to pinpoint uh, a, a single influence in terms of like the eclecticism of the band, but
Well,
I
I see
mean,
you're wearing a Donald Fagen shirt.
yeah, that's right. I mean, there are some careers that span decades, and of course you're going to find different kinds of music. I think, to me, the initiators of this almost a trope or narrative about a band's sound evolving throughout the years is the Beatles and
Yeah,
Paul McCartney, and so it's like obviously we've been that's been baked into us as people and musicians from the start. So I think we're very when it comes to trying to uh, basically like put together a bunch of influences that may seem mutually exclusive. That's one band, and obviously it's not just any band, but that's one band that comes to mind.
yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
and then like it's also just we have very broad tastes. We
Yeah.
like Brazilian music a lot, and we like early electronic music a lot, and those two are rarely, I feel, in conversation except in lounge music, and music from maybe the 50s, like hi-fi novelty records from the 50s and 60s. Uh, but those two influences alone are, I think, they also appear in bands from the 90s like Stereolab and things like that. So I guess a
Love
band like
Stereo Lab.
Stereolab, a band like that is a big inspiration also in the eclecticism, actually. That's so
Well,
cool.
and speaking, you brought up Stereo Lab. I know that you guys formed the band in France, but
Mm.
I'd love to hear a little more. What is the origins of Pearl and the Oysters? Where did it all start? How did it all start?
Well, one funny fact is that we actually discovered, we knew of Stereolab before moving to the US, but we didn't really know their work very well. So it took for us to actually move to Gainesville, Florida, to have people saying like, "Oh wow, your music reminds me of Stereolab," and we're like, "Oh yeah, okay, we vaguely remember this band." Like, And
No,
you knew a
that's
little more than me, maybe,
well.
but
If we're going to,
it
yeah, yeah.
wasn't part of like your
It,
main influence.
no, but it was part of a scene that was definitely again like between France and England. There's this label called Tricatel that we were very big fans of, and another band. Well, mainly it's a one man project, but it used to be a band called the High Llamas, and Sean O'Hagan played in Stereolab as well. So I was familiar with, at least if not the band's discography, I was familiar with the scene, and it's a sound that I already enjoyed. But yeah, it's funny how the gap between their appreciation in the U.S. versus their appreciation in France was always funny to me because we never got compared to Stereolab in France or
Huh.
the previous projects and things that resembled what became uh, the first Pearl the Oysters record. But yeah, it started basically 10 years ago now. But right before we moved to the US, we started working on demos in our Paris apartment in 2015, I would say. And from there, once we moved that year to the US. We started working on the first record. Those demos became, but really the band started in the U.S. Um, but
But
we came with demos that became the first album. So in a way, it's true that it started in Paris, but in my mind, it always really only
Blossom.
American made.
as a live project. It
Yeah.
started in Florida,
But
in
Jojo and I,
Gainesville,
so the project has started roughly 10 years ago, but Jojo and I have been making music together for
for a long time.
maybe 6 years before that.
Yeah, since we were
In high school,
right out
yeah,
of high
right.
school, basically.
Was there a moment when you like realized that you wanted to be a musician? Is there like a specific moment you can think of, or were you born in a musical family?
I was born in a musical family, and always feel that my dad is. Sometimes I feel that the affiliation is like a shoemaker who teaches his kid to make shoes. It was really from the crib, and so yeah, I mean, of course, I loved music from a very young age, and it made sense, and I was attracted to it. So, uh, but yeah, what about you, Jojo?
I have a different story,
Yeah.
but music was very important in my household. Both my parents are music lovers and music enthusiasts, although more in the classical realm and jazz.
Okay.
So those were my first, uh, I think, big, aesthetic shocks in terms of music. I think I decided that I wanted to be a musician pretty late in life, although I started really as a kid. I played violin for years and years, and I was encouraged by everybody around me really because I showed promise as a violinist, and my parents and my professor were really pushing for me to pursue that, and so I did a lot of music into my teen years. Juliette and I met in a public high school in Paris where um, they had a music track, which was rare in public institutions in France don't all have music programs and the possibility to do music. So we were in like one of those schools that offered that, and it was definitely important in my life very early on. But I think that I decided that I wanted to be a musician probably later, probably in my teen years, and even then I didn't, because we did musicology right after high school. Both of us studied musicology and music history, and it wasn't clear yet. Also, it wasn't so clear for me whether I would be really a musician or someone whose job revolves around music writing, but is maybe not a full-time musician like I am now. And I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, it was all basically, it started around uh, the, my late teen years when I discovered rock and stuff. Well, playing in bands, rock bands.
I'm talking to Juliette Pearl Davis and Joachim Polack of Pearl and the Oysters. They are playing at the High Dive in Denver on Saturday. You can get those details at our concert calendar at coloradosound.org. They also did just release their new album, Monkey Mind, in June. And I do want to harp on that album just a little more because there's a song on there that I really like called Doom Mood. And I just want to know what's the story behind that song?
Um, I guess, well, sometimes the state of the world is it's difficult to uh, look at in a positive light, and you just have to write a really depressing song. But as we always do in this band, there's always a twist, and I think the darker the lyrics, typically the weirdly more whimsical the music will get. And I think that's a song where we thought, oh, how funny would it be to do kind of a Latin rock, like Boogaloo kind of take on. It's like Boogaloo slash samba take on really a song about the end of the world. And also Doom Mood. I love lyrics that are trying to be clever, and so I decided this time it was my turn to. I don't know. I thought about Doom Mood before I went to sleep one night, and I was, oh, that's a palindrome. And how about we try to write a song with a lot of palindromes, but make it a little dark and funny, and uh, we try not to be too cynical, but we like a tension between um, lyrics and melody, or lyrics and chord progression, like musical mood actually.
Yeah, I think we feel that we don't want to do depressing music, but we want to help people that are going through a collective depression, I feel, maybe
That's
these
a good
days,
way
you
to
know.
put it. Yeah.
So we are, all of us are struggling with a lot of, I think, a lot of anxiety and
Oh
fear,
yeah,
and I think, I mean, I like to think that maybe we can make music that is not oblivious of that reality, but it is,
absolutely.
but that is still like maybe helping, feeling connected as humans in this world. Because I think that's the thing that's gonna save us. Sorry, that's my theory. That's really
Yeah,
human connection.
absolutely.
The opposite of AI, basically. That's what's gonna save us.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, you've seen the state of the world lately.
Yeah,
It's not
of
great.
course. And that's
I
why
got one
also
more.
I want to say thank you for radio stations to, keep speaking to us
Oh,
through the sound
absolutely.
waves, and that's so important.
Absolutely. We're really excited to have you. I mean, we're playing your music, and we're always looking for artists and bands to talk to, especially when they're coming to Colorado, which you guys will be at the High Dive in Denver, August 1st. Again, you can get those details at our concert calendar. That's coloradosound.org. I'm talking to Pearl and the Oysters. I have one more for you guys, and I ask this question to every band or artist that I talk to. So I would love to hear your answer. So the radio station is 105.5 FM. It's 105.5 the Colorado Sound. So I ask you, what band or artist would you drive 105.5 miles to go see? And it can be
Ah,
any band or artist ever. It could be dead or alive. It could be anyone you want. You just have to drive 105.5 miles to go see them.
I love this.
Mm.
Hmm.
I have a ready-made answer for
Well,
this.
I'd love to hear it.
Antonio Carlos Jobim, I wrote my PhD dissertation on his early 70s output, and he's my absolute idol in terms of songwriting, and talk about eclecticism, and sort
Very.
of running the gamut. Yeah, he's my absolute master of songwriting. So I would, if I could go back in time and catch him in the early 90s, or anytime in the, actually anytime in the 60s or 70s,
Yeah,
I would drive 105 miles for sure.
nice. And Juliet,
Okay, well, it's a really, really tough question, but I
you
think,
can name
I
a
mean,
few if you want to.
okay, Blossom Dearie. If I could
Oh.
see Blossom Dearie perform, that would be, yeah, I would drive, definitely. And I was also thinking of this vocal band called Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross, which it's a vocal trio from the 60s, and they're just so cool. Uh, but yeah, the list is long. The list
Yeah,
is
I mean
long.
it's never ending. I mean, I
The
drive a
Beatles would be nice, a little acoustic set of the Beatles or something
oh,
like
of
that.
course. Of course. I mean, come on, it's the Beatles. I mean, I'd drive infinity miles to see
That's true.
the
Same.
OG, the original Beatles. I mean, come on,
I
that's
would build
incredible.
the car.
Yeah,
Put together the DeLorean.
yeah, I'd hop in the Mandalorian and go see the Beatles at Red Rocks. I mean, come on. I'm talking to Juliette Pearl Davis and Joachim Polack of Pearl and the Oysters. Remember, they're coming to the High Dive in Denver on Saturday. Those details you can always find at our website, coloradosound.org. Guys, I really appreciate it, and thanks for being here.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much for
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us.